So, who are you talking about?
Oh, don't film me. Don't film me.
Okay, I won't.
No, don't film me.
Okay.
So we went to Ontario.
Who's this about?
Mom and Dad and myself. I was a baby. And my dad got lost. He had a Model T. It was one of the first cars that was ever done. And he got lost and we ended up in a farmer's field, or near a farmer's field. We were out of milk and I was a baby. I was yelling my head off. So he went under the fence to this farmer's cow and got me. We had a tent. Well, I don't know whether we had a tent or not at that time. Anyway, maybe we slept in the car. Anyway, he got some milk for me. So that was the first trip. Then we went when I was 3. Don't do this. You'll remember it.
I won't remember this.
Yeah, you will.
Anyways.
And I went when I was 3, and my grandma and grandpa were very strict church people.
All right, now this is...
Andrew and Catherine.
Right.
And-
Waldy McTaggart and Andrew Miller.
Yeah.
Presbyterian.
Yes, I think they were. They were something very
They were
strict.
Presbyterian then.
She only wore black and a little white collar, black lisle stockings. Anyway, I did something naughty, which I don't remember, and my grandmother sent me to her bedroom. So I went there, and finally when they told me I could come out, I said, I spit on all your walls. 2 days away. And, you know,
When you were 8. Now you're
when I was 8.
You're going to bigger?
We're going to go to see my grandmother Catherine's mother.
Okay, Isabella.
Yes. I don't remember her really, but I remember going, I guess it was in Owen Sound, and there was one there was a sidewalk, I guess maybe wood. There was one step, and you were in the house, like there was no yard whatsoever. It was right on the street. You went in, and the women were in the kitchen, and there was a door, but there was a little desk in front of it. So that did not make sense to an 8-year-old. I had to pull that desk away and go in that door. Well, it was a duplex, you see, so I was in. They rushed out of the kitchen. Oh my God. I'm gonna make these sandwiches. So that was the only time I went there. But I also I figured out when I said Jean, who was married to McKinley. You said Bill McKinley.
Yes, there's a Jean McKinley for sure in there.
Yeah. Well, because there were so many Jeans around, they called her Aunt Bill.
Okay.
And her 2 daughters, I didn't know the one Jean very well, but the Betty, that of course she would be.
So Jean McKinley had a daughter called Jean.
2 daughters.
One called Jean.
And one called Elizabeth,
right,
known as Betty. And the Betty I knew, and both those were in the forces, but the Betty never married, and she came out while I was here during the war. So I will just think what I'm doing here in a minute.
Now, did they have a brother though that drowned in a pool?
Yeah, that's the one. I'm pretty sure that's the right one. He went to the University of Guelph in science of some sort and fell into this pond, fish pool or something, and he couldn't get out. It was so slimy, and he drowned. And Jean, she did marry and have 2 kids, but I didn't really know her.
Right. But
Elizabeth.
Betty.
No, not that one. This is another one.
Oh, Elizabeth who?
Elizabeth Miller.
Okay.
And Jean McTaggart, both spinsters.
Yes.
Lived together somehow, and then when this church went united and the other church didn't want to go united, they had a big fight and they never spoke again. Oh, strangely. Jack, my dad's next brother.
Jack.
Went to
But
that one.
was he actually Jack though?
He was John.
He was John, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem you run into with the nicknames. Everyone knows them by something else.
Well, there's so many of the same name that they... Anyway, I only found this out not too long ago. I think he was 16. And there was a shotgun marriage. And my grandpa Andrew just got this Model T.
Okay, so John Biggermiller.
I guess that was his name.
Well,
he was next to my dad in age.
1905.
Yeah.
Your dad was 1904.
Mm-hmm. He took the car and ran away because he didn't want to get married. But they caught him. He got the car back, but he went to Flin Flon.
Yes, that's where he died in 1948.
Yeah.
But who did he marry?
He didn't marry anybody.
He didn't marry anybody, ever. So you see now I can go like this.
Bruce didn't marry anyone.
Andrew, yes, no, but Bruce was killed in the tractor accident,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think he was a bit slow. Come on, have your sandwich.
Oh, I know.
They started, oh well, you never know. You never know, you know, this might be the last birthday, so at all the family.
So Grandma Finch was 85?
Yeah.
Minnie, no.
My mother was dead
Mabel.
at that time. Yeah, Mabel. So I had all the family to a birthday party. But she was in a rather down period. But Grandpa was quite talkative. Grandpa Finch. So...
Frederick.
Pardon me?
Frederick,
yeah. So I said to him, when you were a child, like, did you bath in the aluminum tub or whatever? And no, he says, we never bathed. I said, never? He says, well, in the summer, I guess we went to the river. Imagine, he's in England. So he said, no. He says, never went to a doctor. He was maybe 75 the first time he went to a doctor, but nobody ever went to a doctor at that time.
No.
No. No.
Well, other than a doctor putting your joint back in or setting your leg because you broke it, they didn't have antibiotics.
No,
you know.
Nothing. And as far as vets went, they were for, when I was a kid, horses and cows. When your dog died or got sick, you got a new dog.
Yeah.
There was no vets for small animals.
No.
None. Anyway, they had Grandma Finch and Grandpa. I told you they met in church. And I mean, she was one of those ladies that lived with the family waiting to get married because she didn't work. And she was 26, I think you said.
Yes. But
somebody was paying her.
Shaw.
Yeah.
They had money. Shaws had money.
Yeah. Anyway, they came to Saskatchewan and they were indentured for 2 years to this farmer. They had a mud house. And I mean, this is just 17. My mother was 8 and the twins were 5. I mean, not long ago they had a mud house. Anyway,
That's not so bad. You know, the indentured though is feudal.
Yeah, you do it.
He has to provide you food. You've got to give him a certain amount of share crop. You know,
well,
he's going to give you access to his wood. You know.
Well, Grandpa was out there, but this was not a very nice guy. Grandpa was out working in the fields or whatever he was doing. And this guy came and said to my little grandma, who was so...
Mabel Finch.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, my goodness, my goodness. He said to her something, and she, you know, a proposition, and she...
He was a lecturer.
Yeah, and she said, horrified, and he said, oh, well, once the loaf has one slice off it... My grandmother told me that. She said, Fred would have killed him.
Yeah.
I never, ever told that story. I mean, she was such a lady, but imagine nerve of this guy.
Fred would have killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she said, this is before they left England.
When he was old, he put me on his back. He was all arthritic and everything. He'd be,
Yeah.
You know, I'm making that up. I don't know that.
Horsey.
Riding a horse. He'd be crawling through the yard,
Yeah.
up and down the stairs.
I know.
It was like, holy cow.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was I going to tell you about in England before they left? What did he do? Oh well, doesn't matter. But yeah, he was quite a guy.
Really nice photo of him.
Uh-huh.
Not when he was in the overalls. Strapping,
Yeah, he
strong
was.
man.
Yeah. What a character. He'd be on the, when they moved out here, what year did they come out here? Just before the war started, the Second World War. Anyway, he sold the farm to Gordon, the one that had the chicken farm.
Yes.
The one in Saskatchewan he sold to Gordon.
In Lanigan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he got a job. They came out here and they were managing this apartment in the West End. And I stayed 1 year there during the war.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he was so funny. Apparently he'd get on the bus and he would remark, "Nice hat you have on today." And whatnot. They said, "Oh, he's outrageous." He would compliment the women, or if he didn't like it, I don't know whether he said so, but my grandmother would have a fit. Oh my God, Fred, your underwear is showing. Oh, my. Yeah. And, as I've told you, she's the one that did marijuana.
No, it wasn't marijuana.
It was.
Mm-mm.
What was it?
Opium. Mm-hmm. Taking the vapors with the towel.
Yeah, but it
That's
was, I
opium.
can see the leaves, and she crumbled them. It was because Gordon, when it became popular, he recognized it. And it was Gordon the one that said that's what it was. She took in this little tin these leaves, and in the lid she'd crunch them like this. Now I know, I can see it.
Marijuana won't. It has to burn like tobacco. You can't burn it in a tin like.
Yeah, it was like tobacco. Smoke came up. Little raunchy smoke. Yeah, it wasn't opium. It was.
Did it smell like skunk?
I guess it did. I was always, I want the towel. No. But they didn't know.
So your grandmother was having a toke before bed.
Well, no. It's when Fred was misbehaving and she got upset and her asthma bothered her. She'd go and...
Oh, it can't be.
Uh-huh.
Because marijuana, if your asthma was bothering you, you can't smoke marijuana.
Well, that's what Gordon said it was, and I believe it too, because I can see it in my eye now. Anyway, it eased her asthma.
I wonder what else comes and leaves. Because marijuana does not. Marijuana just, the lungs just close right down.
I don't know, she said it helped her.
Yes, but like an opiate will.
Well, you know, in magazines and papers, there were all these silly, crappy ads that Atlas and, you know, and that's where she got this for asthma, I'm sure.
She was buying weed through the newspaper.
Oh. No. But my mother, I think I told you this one too, my mother came very close to marrying the pharmacist in Langley, who was Jewish, eh? And
Lanigan.
And just before the announcements went out, my grandmother decided that she couldn't marry a Jew, so that came to an end. But they used to tease me, "Oh, you might have been a little Jewish girl." So.
I would have been a rich Jewish girl.
Isabel came out to visit us. Do you remember that when we were on Regent?
Which one?
Dad's sister, the one.
Yes.
You remember that?
Without the arm. No.
No.
No, Dad's sister, not my dad.
No, my
Oh, okay.
dad's sister Isabel. There's only one girl. in
Right.
the
William
Miller
McTaggart
family.
Miller's sister, Isabel.
Isabel.
No, I do not.
Yeah, she came out while we were living on Regent. She only stayed a couple of days. She was a nurse down in Rochester. She married, her name, French name.
Mm-hmm. DeRoche.
Right. Whoa, was that bad news in the Miller family? She married a Catholic.
She married Catholic and moved to Florida.
Well, she ended up in Florida, but they lived just across in Rochester, New York.
Mm-hmm.
For most
I
of
got her there as well.
And there's 2 boys. She had 2 boys. Could you eat another half? I've run down.
Keep going. Yeah.
Well, just pick the bacon out of it. I can't do it.
Uh-oh.
And once we went to, you were just a little guy. Where did Wally have his cabin on?
Simcoe, I think. Maybe.
Yeah. And the one cousin came from the States, Isabel's son, one of his sons, and his wife, and a little kid.
Now that's working out. Was I there? I think so.
And
So this would be Walter Miller's sister's son, Isabel. The one that
Isabel's son.
DeRoche.
yeah,
It would have been in
his
DeRoche.
name was Jerry, I think it was. One died quite early in an accident, but the other one, and while we were there, they were very, well, you know, they were saying how expensive it was to go to a doctor and whatnot for shots for the kid.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, we just go, and I mean, now I can see it at that time. I said, well, we just go to the nurse,
The public
there's
health.
public health nurse. They couldn't do that, you know, only
Oh, right.
poor people went there. Well, I didn't like that. And then the reason, and he worked for a gun company, and he probably retired from there. So they were all for
Oh,
guns.
in Rochester.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm so against guns
I think
at
it's
that time.
I think it's Winchester. I think it's probably.
Maybe. Anyway, and then that Negroes were winning in sports because they had an extra ligament or something in their leg. So I was so liberal at that time, and they were so conservative. But ridiculous.
The Canadian Democrat meets the American Republican.
Well, all my cousins were 10 years younger than I was, on both sides. So I didn't really know them.
No.